Hello and welcome to Green TV. Live we are. How exciting. So we've got Green TV, PATT Foundation, and we've got a very special guest tonight, John Pearson. I shall let him tell you a little bit more. I shall introduce you and let you tell him a little bit more about yourself. So we've designed this TV show tonight. It's for veterans, and it's for veterans, made by veterans. We're going to cover a couple of topics tonight about transitioning from being a veteran into the world of work, and a little bit more along the way. So stay with us, and I promise you it'll be an exciting show. So John, do you want to tell us a little bit more about you and who you are and what you was in the ex-forces and where you are today?
Okay, Gail, thank you very much. Can you hear me first of all?
Yes, loud and clear.
Good, excellent. I got the button right. You were very generous with your introduction there. Not so sure of a special guest I am, but thank you very much. Yes, I am ex-forces. I have some legitimacy of being on here. Before we get into it, yes, I'm ex-RAF. Left school with A levels, but really didn't know what I wanted to go and do. I think like a lot of people at that sort of my generation, that's quite common. I think children of the sort of 18 to 21 era now clearly know what they want to go and do and have got clear desires. I just didn't know at all. I come from a background of forces people, particularly on my father's side. As far as I can see back in the sort of generations, each one of them has been in forces. My grandfather, for example, was in both the First World War and the Second World War, etc., etc. So it's quite a natural progression. I want to go in the RAF. You can do, in all the forces, you can do some exciting and actually get paid for it. But the bit I was really interested in was the leadership training bit. I've seen people at school who can naturally lead others, and it's a bit about, can you learn leadership, or is it just purely innately in you? And I truly believe you can learn leadership. So probably 50-50 to go and do some exciting, the other 50% actually learn about leadership and then take those skills, that leadership, into whatever I was going to go and do afterwards. Went in, thoroughly enjoyed it, came out, would do it again tomorrow, absolutely no regrets at all. And that's quite common when you talk to people. So I was initially for short service. I came out, and the biggest thing for me was recognizing how ex-forces people come from being in forces environment into the civilian environment. And that for me was the big challenge in terms of how do you actually go and do that? I knew I wanted to set up my own business, but before I did that, I needed to go and get that legitimacy in terms of actually working for a large business. So I joined Mars. At the time, it was a very big business, seen as one of the sort of preeminent businesses in the world. And I was lucky. I got taken in the graduate scheme, even though I'm not a graduate. I'm probably I'm a good salesman.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting that you should say that you had.
But it worked. I think it's that bit about business. Some businesses recognise the value of ex-forces people, and Mars at the time did, and they had some very successful people within Mars who come from an ex-forces background, and they really shone head and shoulders above other people. And on the basis of that, they brought me into the business. Had a very successful time in Mars, and then thought, right, I need to go and break the shackles of working for the company, and then went through a progression instead of actually then doing assignment work predominantly under my own name, my own business. Perfect. So really, sort of things I was sort of trying to sort of rethink about for this evening is actually how people make that progression from being forces into that civilian life. Now, I did have an advantage. I left the forces after quite a short period of time, so therefore I had a bit of time on my hands to go and make that transition. But the learning, the skills I got from being in the forces has actually helped me in doing everything I've done thereafter. I think it gives you that leadership, that confidence, that ability to go and work with others, the ability to go and sort through a situation when other people flounder and that sort of thing. They're all the skills that we go and learn. And it's actually how we get employers to actually recognise that those skill sets are inherently involved in inherently built into people who are ex-forces people.
Absolutely, totally agree. And it's interesting you should say that, funny enough, because my sort of obviously take on this with talking to you tonight is that sometimes some employers out there might be reluctant to take on force people. You know, some have stigmas. There's the mental health side as well that comes under that bracket. But what you've just said there, the leadership, the taking ownership, these transferable skills are massively important when you transition into the civilian world.
They
So
are,
in terms of it's okay. It's the signal's breaking up ever so slightly, isn't it? So I've got a delayed talk, but I speak from you then. Yeah. So leading on to what you're saying, that the transferable skills in terms of, you know, you transitioning from your leadership role. So yeah, tell me a bit more about that, John.
Yeah, it's pre-thinking coming into this, pre-thinking today, is I think probably I'd sort of focus on what are the personal skills. And actually, those are things that don't change. Okay, there are skills which you go and learn, which are very specific skills to the role that you'll be doing, whether it be a gunner, a bombardier, or a rapier systems operator, or whatever else. There isn't much call for those people in the civilian world.
No,
what there is a call for is people who actually have this ability to go and work through a difficult situation. The people who have the ability to go and grab a team together and say, actually, there's a situation here. What we need to go and beat is over there. This is how we go and do it. And actually resourcing that team and encouraging that team to go and achieve it. And that's what businesses really want. They seem to struggle with, well, actually, you haven't been in a other food business before or another type of manufacturing business before. It's actually how we get those employers to really understand that those skills that people learn in the forces are absolutely transferable. They're the people skills.
It's characteristics, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely.
I totally agree.
Probably a better word for it. Yeah.
Obviously, working in recruitment myself, I've seen this across the board many, many times. I always believe skills, and you can learn, you know, most things other than what you have to go to university, college for. Obviously, if you want to be a teacher, you need the accreditation. If you want to be a doctor, you have to obviously do the accreditation. So it's some loud bang there. Yeah. But obviously, in terms of, you know, the forces, these skills are impeccable, and you know, you can train anything into these. That it's the actual core characteristics of the people that, you know, is instilled in the military people.
Yeah, and it's a shame from my point of view, and that's one of the messages I want to get through this evening, is actually how employers don't really see that. And it's actually, there are organisations out there trying to make that change. And that's how my introduction to yourselves came through from Pauline King, sort of assistant regional director for the employer engagement for the RFCA. I know your business is a bronze accredited member of that. My business is also signed up to it as well. But so there's lots of good work going on, but there's it's almost like a big tidal wave to hit through in terms of actually really those organisations understanding actually the value of people who are ex-forces. And for me, it's a crying shame when you see people who've been doing some significantly large roles in the forces, effectively, you know, whether it be warrant officers or whatever else, actually not getting that comparable level of role out in the outside world. And it's, for me, it's a crying shame. Some people do want the bigger job, they can't get it. Some people actually don't want a job, that's absolutely fine, sort of type thing. So it's actually how we get that message across. Now, I doubt whether there are going to be many employers watching this evening. So I don't know. I mean, it goes in the soapbox to do it.
It goes on the airwaves. I mean, there's more and more. I totally agree with you, John. And, you know, that's probably more so in the past, but there's more awareness being raised now, you know, what with, I don't know if it's the COVID and employers are sort of seeing and addressing this, but I in particular have had a lot of businesses, you know, wanting to invest in veterans, wanting to, you know, give them and recognising the core skills from the veterans. You know, obviously that's what I've been doing for the past year. So it is more and more, and I do feel your empathy in terms of in the past, but I think that the awareness is being raised a lot more. I've definitely seen it in changing business circumstances, and definitely in the recruitment world. So, you know, hopefully we can reach the masses. We can sort of get out there, you know, with the Green TV, with the lives, you know, and the videos that get put out there. So, and in terms of with talking obviously about the veterans, that links me nicely to the Green Task Force. And yes,
well, if you were going to go and create that link, I was going to do so as well, because a nice segue into it.
Oh, there we go. Great minds, but great minds think alike. See, my obviously normally I would have with it being in the evening on the Green TV, I would normally be a bit more business dressed, but I've been out over at Skipton, so quite in the North Yorkshire Dales today. So it's been quite a trek. We was meeting the Mayor of Middlesbrough yesterday. The veterans were, it was absolutely brilliant. The Mayor was really, really impressed. And everybody who comes across the veterans and sees them, sees how happy they are and sees the skills, how they get on with the job, you know, if that makes sense. And it's kind of these core skills, personality skills that you can't train. You know, you need the veterans in terms of this. But you came tree planting with us last week, didn't you, John? So rather than me say all about it, I'm passionate, so you can say up first-hand experience.
Well, I've only done it once, so I'm passionate about it. Absolutely.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you for letting me come along.
You're welcome.
I asked to come along because it would give me an insight in terms of actually helping for the conversation we're having now. But it also, for me, refreshes where veterans are in terms of then as I then talk to other people about actually, you know, what we should be doing as in terms of helping veterans, helping business, because the two go hand in hand. So first of all, thank you for having me come along. That was Tuesday up in Hull. It was a lovely sunny day. I think Wednesday wasn't as good for you.
It's never dull in Hull.
I must say, for those people who haven't gone, I found when I turned up, the organisation clearly to get to be in Hull on Tuesday with so many people and so many trees, there must have been an immense amount of work in the background. So whoever was doing that, fantastic, because it was there and it was running as sweet as a nut and anything else. Now,
that's credit due to Andy Steele, who runs the Green Task Force. So he was obviously the instigator behind the Green TV PATT Foundation. So yes, very hard-working man.
Well, it was the hard work's clearly paying off. So well done, Andy. Absolutely. But it was standout. The next standout thing was announcing we got 4,000 trees to plant. I think how on earth are we going to plant 4,000 trees? And for those who haven't seen it, a big truck turns up under 4,000 trees in the back, plus 4,000 stakes to put the trees against, and 4,000 spirally wraps to put around the trees to stop the rabbits eating them.
Yes.
But there weren't thousands and thousands of people there to go and do it. I think there were 17 veterans there, I think, were a rough number.
Roughly around about that,
yeah. And probably equalish number of trainees from the Logistics Corps at Ecclesfield as well.
Yeah, we did.
And it was planned to be over 2 days. And the first day we smashed it. We did 3,500 trees in one day, which is incredible.
Yes, worked very hard. Well done, you as well.
Yeah, I was doing some, absolutely. Yeah, in fact, I saw myself on your.
You definitely got stuck in and did it.
Yeah, didn't stop to talk. Yes, it was. I'm so glad I went, because it's like you said, when you put a bunch of forces people together, half of them may actually never know each other, but you drop into a mode, and that mode is actually what's the purpose of us being here? The purpose is to go and plant trees, and quick briefing in terms of actually how to go and do it properly, and then just people just go and grab trees, grab planters, grab stakes and the rest of it, and they disappear across the four corners of the playing fields and that sort of thing, and get on with it. And what's nice to see is there's little groups and people start to talk and the rest of it. And end up talking with, I was in little teams of three. There was a Navy guy and an Army guy. And the Navy guy said never talked to an RAF person before. But you sort of, you know, and everybody joins in. Some people don't want to talk, that's fine. That's completely acceptable and everything else like that. But you're all doing something for a good reason. And I'll come back to purpose later on as we start talking some more. But actually being out there does make a difference. And, I know from a personal point of view, I can be in an office, for weeks and weeks and weeks, preparing presentations, preparing business proposals and the rest of it, and you're getting nowhere with it. Put me in a field or put me in a garden or put me whatever else like that. I'm as happy as a sandboy. And I finish the day, finish the week in a completely different mode. And I sense that again, just from doing it for one day. So I can really see the value of people going out there and doing plant a tree today.
It's like one big family. It's like it's like they're back in the forces, as you probably will have picked up on that. It's one of those that the guys that get stuck in, they get the job done. As long as you feed them tea and biscuits and bacon butties along the way, it's get the job done. And and although we are going through COVID and we're coming through the end of the pandemic, all the health and safety was adhered to. Everybody kept their distance. We provided masks, and everything did run like clockwork. So I'm really pleased that you came up and joined us with that. So going back to the world of work then, John, so obviously you work now, you're a very successful businessman. We're successful in the world of business. So how did you use your time in the forces to transfer those over into the world of work? What's really helped you?
It was a bit, and I said earlier on, as a young person, didn't really know what I wanted to go and do. But it's clear I went in the forces to learn that confidence, that leadership, as communication skills and all the rest of it. And that's what gave me the leg up into the commercial world, into civilian commercial world and things like that. Because no matter what role you do need to have some confidence about what you're actually doing. And sometimes that can come from skills, or that can just come from an inner confidence in terms of, I'm not really sure where we are. I've got a rough idea where we need to go, and just conveying that and energizing a team. And sometimes you can be on a bit of a wing in that way. But it comes down to those personal traits that you were talking about before, Gail, in terms of actually those are things that the forces either train into you or inherently bring out of your inherent skills that are deeper inside of you. And the roles I ended up doing are actually more leadership roles, but actually it's the same thing about saying, actually, where do we want to be? That's fine. Then actually understanding where you are, because you can't get to where you want to be unless you know where you are. Otherwise, you'd be going in the wrong direction completely. And then you've actually then got to say, well, actually, where I want to be might be over a hill. You can't see it, but believe me, it's over there. And actually, this is what it could look like. And you've got to be convincing about it. And you then got to trust yourself that actually it's absolutely the right thing. It does sound like I do things in the wing and a prayer. No, I don't. But it's actually saying it comes down to that bit about you're trying to energize a group of people, whatever else sort of type thing. That's what the forces train me. And you can go into training in corporate business and all the rest of it. They start to touch on those things, but they can't put it into practice. And that's why I joined the forces. You can't put people in a commercial business environment in situations the forces put people into that environment. It is impossible to do so. Health and safety, corporate law, and all the rest of it won't allow it to happen. So that's actually what people in the forces actually learn. I learned it, and everybody else learns it as well, sort of type thing. I think that's why the Green Task Force thing works, the Plant a Tree bit works, and the rest of it, because there is a purpose, and actually we all get the benefit of actually doing something and achieving something and all the rest of it. Yeah, so yes, what I do, what I trade on is actually the skills I learned in the forces. And they're not the technical skills I learned in the forces, they were the things that sometimes we don't even know we're actually learning in terms of those other bits and pieces. And that's my problem with, come back again, that's my problem with employers. They're not seeing those benefits. Yeah. Mars got it right when they had it. They had people in there who were ex-forces people, and they shone. Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I know Amazon as a model, you know, they recruit veterans as part of, you know, their core business, and there's more and more now. It's, you know, a bit more in the media, it's a bit more widely noted, and especially through COVID and people, you know, through what the Green Task Force are doing, recognizing, you know, the value of the veterans, you know, the work ethic that they do, and you know, training, and there's going to be a massive difference, definitely in the future. It's coming already, so that's really, really positive. And people like us, and you know, people like you, John, are making that more recognisable. So yeah, absolutely.
More people talk about it better. Yes.
Exactly. And one conversation sparks another conversation. You know, it's how things change. You just need to speak up and speak out. So so yeah, absolutely loved having you on here. This will be recorded and edited and put on the Green TV PATT Foundation YouTube channel. That's growing faster each day. I'll also put it on my channel as well, Gail Acaster, so to get the traction in there. So what you said earlier, you know, that people will get to see this, and you know, we post it out on social media is the key, isn't it?
Careful what I say.
to get that voice heard. So yeah, we'll be posting it out there. So a massive thank you again, and I hope are you gonna come on some more tree planting, John?
I am absolutely coming on for some more tree planting. Yes. Yeah, I've got some other bits of pieces of commitments and all the rest of it, but yes, I will be there.
There's lots of projects coming. Yeah, we've got.
The more you can absorb what's going on, the more you can actually talk about it more lucidly outside. And for those people who may be watching this but haven't gone and done a day, absolutely encourage people to go and do it. Absolutely.
Exactly.
You know, you can get so much. We even get one little tiny thing is good, but you can get so much more from it, though. Honestly,
yeah, exactly.
I was shocked. I didn't think I would get as much from Tuesday as I did. Yeah, it's well done.
Oh, you're very welcome. And you know, it's nice to this is designed to encourage the veterans. There's lots of guys out there struggling, and there's a lot of guys that aren't struggling. You know, they come out the force absolutely fine and ready to go into work. So there's training out there, there's organisations, and you know, the Green Task Force, they're already encroaching all over the UK. We've got Wales Division, we're moving over into Scotland, there's North East Division. So yeah, it's growing massively. So there'll be lots of help for the veterans, and there's lots of support organisations out there as well. So, well, thanks ever so much, everybody, for listening. I shall be posting this out, as I've said, where you can hear about John's story. And you know, if there's any other questions, or if anybody's got any questions about John's talk tonight, then please get in contact with us. We'll be happy to answer any questions. So it's bye from me, Gail Acaster.
Okay, good. Bye from me.
Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.